to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So Craig will be here momentarily, and Charlie is absent with notice. Get right into opening up the public comments at 6 p.m. Is there any public comments at all?
I have one.
Okay,
This is from Carrie Fair. Hello, Mr. Porter, Ms. Moriarty, and the rest of the Interlake School Board. I watched the school board meeting and have to say I'm incredibly disheartened at the lack of discussion about the points sandwich parents brought up. First, if all Meredith's after-school care were unexpectedly taken away the week prior to school starting, I guarantee that the school board would be discussing a solution. Yet, the only discussion from Sandwich's plight was that Meredith doesn't do things that way. We have struggling parents and struggling students. I had to contact the district and the bus company to acquire and fill out a form allowing my 6-year-old to get off the bus and walk home without an adult present. He's 6. I don't want to do that, but I may be forced to on days I cannot get an adult to the bus stop for him. This was not something I planned to do, but it was forced upon me by ILSD canceling after school care after I was crystal clear about how I needed to have my child attend SCS and would otherwise have to continue to send him elsewhere. I am saddened that the school board has not discussed what part of this district is going through at this time. Second, and more frustrating to me at this moment, I'm dismayed and disappointed at the lack of conversation about Sandwich only having half-day kindergarten. This was not a parent decision, as there was a kindergarten committee comprised of kindergarten teachers and admin. Even if it were, when it was made, and are those parents still the parents of the student body there today? No. I'm a parent of an SCS student. I have 2 more to go through kindergarten. I'm requesting the equity on this issue be discussed. Have a committee investigate, poll parents, survey the town, but don't shrug off a clear issue with an inaccurate excuse. And finally, I'm incredibly disappointed at Ms. Moriarty for her reaction to the young families of Sandwich who are suffering the loss of that SCC staff member she hired. I'm glad she got to hire a good teacher, and that's great for the students of that school. But the last minute hire threw us into the school year without childcare, a full preschool staff, which means my own preschooler is on pause until they can hire another person. And none of the preparation us parents took care to have in place before this school year started. To hear her laugh at the end of that meeting, gleefully proud of her hire after hearing how it affected Sandwich's families, was tactless. Do better. This is Carrie Fair from Sandwich.
any other comments? Okay, we're moving on. And I guess we're having a discussion anyway later in the agenda, so,
Yes, it is.
okay. Okay. Interlake Student Board Representative update.
The middle high school production of Susical Jr. will take place on November 18th and 19th at the Interlake Community Theater. On Friday, the show starts at 7, and on Saturday, there are 2 productions, one at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. Please come join us for a colorful and musical performance. Our math team has a math meet tomorrow at Newtown. FBLA hosted a buddy breakfast to increase numbers for FBLA this morning. And parent-teacher conference is on this Thursday, November 10th. The 7th to 12 winter concert will be held on December 8th at 7 p.m. at the Interlakes Community Theater.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. minutes of the regular school board meeting of October 25th.
Motion to approve the minutes of October 25th. Second.
Second, any discussion, questions, corrections? All those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Current, got it? Current bills payable. Motion to approve the payments of manifest 3014. Is there a second?
Second.
Any-
Just for the record, there are two manifests. I think.
Oh,
You
this
said one.
one says 3014. The other one.
Yeah.
No, those are, that's a payroll.
Oh, okay, sorry, my mistake, I apologize.
Okay.
Move. Second.
Okay,
All in favor?
well, we already had first and second.
Did we for that?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
And then
That's okay.
That was me on both of them.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Correspondence superintendent, board secretary, board members?
I would just like to note that I did send personal correspondence to the parents, email earlier this evening.
Okay, superintendent, assistant superintendent report, enrollment report, which is attachment 3 in your packet, Mr. Moriarty.
Yes, you have the enrollment report in your packet. That's attachment number 3. You'll see that we are the same as we were pre-K to 12 last month at 919. Some slight adjustments in terms of enrollment. 712 was 443 last month. It is 441 this month. 150 stayed the same for 7 and 8. Our K to 6 stayed at 448, and our preschool is at 30. Last month it was at 28.
New England Association of Schools and Colleges visitation update, Ms. Moriarty.
I am speaking for Dr. Downing this evening. So the middle high school has completed their self-reflection. The self-reflection is 7 through 12, and so this is a first as we have become a middle high school. Our 7th and 8th grade are participating in the reaccreditation process so that we can be a fully accredited 7 through 12 school. The staff will vote on that self-reflection report on November 10th. Then the report will be sent to the visiting committee. The visiting committee will be here December 5th, December 6th, and I think part of the day on the 7th. We will have a time to invite school board members to participate in that process. And once I have a greater sense of that schedule, we'll be sure to get that to you.
Okay. Athletic update. Ms. Moriarty and Mr. Athletic.
So Ms. May is here to give a update on this season as well as kind of a look ahead to the spring.
So the fall athletic season officially ended on Saturday, with the exception of varsity golf. All of our fall teams qualified this year for postseason action. And golf last year didn't compete in matches. They practiced, but they didn't compete. So this year was an improvement. They competed in all of their varsity matches until the next fall is to have them compete in postseason action potentially. The numbers were fantastic this fall. We had 108 athletes in grades 6 through 8 and 143 in grades 9 through 12. And like I said, all of the teams, cross country participated in the state meet. Halloween weekend, girls soccer qualified and played in the preliminary round of the tournament before losing to Derryfield in a very close game. Boys soccer traveled to Conant in the preliminary round, and again lost by 1 goal to Conant. Real good game. Volleyball had an amazing season. They started off and they just built all year, and their highlight was probably their semifinal victory over undefeated #1 ranked Wasenic, knocking them out of the playoffs. They came up a little short in the finals, but even in that match, they never gave up, and every single set was really close. And then the football team qualified for the playoffs for the first time since 2016. And their numbers have grown significantly. 3 years ago, they had 22 members on the team, and they're up to 48. So 47, sorry. So that program has seen a significant turnaround. But all of our fall teams, even at the middle school, they all did really well. We had really healthy numbers this fall, so that was nice to see.
And that represents about 57% of the student body participating in athletics.
Which is really good.
It's
When
nice,
I
strong.
talk to my colleagues around it, that's a very healthy number. And the fall athlete recognition night will be on November 15th at 6 p.m. at ILMHS. And then we kick off winter athletics on November 21st. So those are right around the corner.
So we have looked ahead to softball, and we unfortunately do not have enough numbers to safely field a softball team at the high school level this year. We did try looking for co-op teams. We were not successful finding a team that we could partner with. We are offering, although it's not ideal, the opportunity to play with the middle school students, just to at least get some play time, maybe build some skill sets. But we have notified families and the students who would have participated. And so I do want you to be aware that we won't be running softball this year. And really, safety was a major piece of that, as well as there were key positions that we just didn't have individuals prepared to do. And certainly baseball is an option too for any softball athlete.
May I ask a question about football? Do you think the numbers are up? I mean, a little while ago, we had talked about, a club team here in the younger grades, right? Do you think that's why our numbers are up, because of participation in that as well?
Oh, that significantly contributes
Yeah.
to the healthy numbers. And the work that both the middle school and the high school coaches have done in the off season and in the weight room, all of those things have contributed.
And just as a reminder to the board, so this is the third year of the middle school football program. So that will be built into next year's budget. And that was the commitment that was made. And they self-funded for 3 years, did an amazing job. Guy Donnelly was the head coach and really has built a beautiful program. So just wanted to prepare you that you will see that in the budget.
And they're going up to high school.
Yes, and it has, it's really made for a healthier
Yeah.
program.
Good, thank you.
So fiscal year 2022 year-end financial summary report, Mr. Antonio and the assistant superintendent.
At your place setting this evening, I left a copy of the year-end summary report. I do this every year for you based on the DOE 25 report. I try to summarize things for you. I was not going to go through it page by page tonight unless you would like me to, but I certainly can reach out to me with any questions you may have.
Thank you. Transportation report, information items, temporary.
I'm handing out our first transportation report in quite some time. We had a couple of years where buses were assigned student seats and were limiting capacity. This year, we are not doing that. So I am giving you a graph comparison to 2018, 2019. As we move forward, those, on the left is 22, 23, and on the right is 18, 19. We continue to do that. You can see that 18, 19 enrollment was 1,026, 22, 23 enrollment at the time of this report was 919. So that could account for some of the decrease in ridership. So I will keep you updated. We are also down one bus from 18, 19. Last year, we decided to combine from 14 routes down to 13. Making that work.
And we'll be analyzing that to see if there's any other adjustments as we prepare for next year's budget.
Multi-function bus purchase update. Mrs. Campolino?
Yes, I am happy to inform the board that we have ordered a multi-purpose microbus. It's a 14 passenger from Anderson Motors. As the board knows, we've gone out to bid twice and received no competitive bids for the small multifunction use bus. I reached out to Bluebird and we are on a waiting list. We have signed, if they receive enough chassis to accommodate our needs, we will get one. Otherwise, we'll be first in line for a 24 model.
And this is, we own it, right?
Correct.
That's exciting. Yeah.
Oil changes and all.
I know. Yeah, question.
Trish, on your afternoon routes, the bottom line, the shuttle to the community center, is that just another one of our 13 buses doing that run?
Yes,
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
it does the run and then it comes back and picks up and goes out.
As well on that, do you know what the average ride time is?
It depends on the route, but they're between 45 minutes and an hour. I mean, the shuttle run is a quick one, but most of the routes are 45 minutes to an hour.
And that is the challenge when looking at, I think, can reduce this.
We do cover 167 square miles
It's bid.
of territory.
Yeah.
So stay.
Thank you.
Certainly.
Okay. New business, length of school day discussion for kindergarten students at Sandwich Central School. Ms. Moriarty's and
So-
Mr. Hilder.
Mrs. Tilner and I are here tonight to just see if the board is willing to allow us to engage in a conversation with the families in Sandwich, if they would like to look at having the length of school day extended for kindergarten. Presently, kindergarten leaves at noon time. My understanding is that was historically a preference, that a decision that was made, and that may be, we're in a different time period, and that it may be worth looking at and seeing if there is interest in doing that. And so we would just like to see if the board is willing to support us and engaging in that conversation.
So move.
Discussion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would support the discussion relative to the length of school day for kindergarten students and the potential impact on first graders.
Yes, Dr.
I'd like to echo, I think, what is in Howard's mind as he makes that comment. I think the discussion or the reference to this as a preference, the historical decision to have a half-day kindergarten gives an impression that isn't entirely accurate. Or the impression that's given it was that it was a choice of the parents at the time. And I think that's not what I've seen in the record. I think it was part of a discussion of how multi-age classrooms can best fulfill the needs of both kindergartners and first graders. And as a board member who has had children who have gone through that school and that classroom recently, I think we change things. We must change things carefully, and we must appreciate that any change in the kindergarten would also have significant impacts on the first graders and the second graders who had been in first grade previously. So I think this is a complicated discussion, and it won't be an easy decision to make simply to change the kindergarten times. And I personally know what it was like to pick up kids at 2 different times a day, and it is not insignificant as a challenge, but it's something that is a function of the multi-age classroom.
Howard had a question. And then-
Yes. In addition to I agree with Duncan completely. In addition to what I've said, I think any administrative or board involvement has to be limited to those issues having to do with children's education. Daycare and after-school daycare for children in Sandwich is a community of Sandwich issue and not an issue of the Interlake School District. We need to keep those two issues in mind. I don't mean to imply that the school, if there's some organizational effort within the community, that the school should not participate. I don't mean that at all. The school should not be the moving force behind childcare in the town of Sandwich, any more than it was in the town of Merritt.
Nancy.
I appreciate, Jeremy, if you could, I wasn't here when the original conversation took place around this. If you could help me understand the point Duncan's making about multi-age classrooms and the impact that this would have on.
Sure. In 2007, that was when the big discussion happened about the enrollment. And, that conversation was intensive and thorough. I think the committee met 21 times over the course of about a year and a half. The premise for the meeting was all around the enrollment at Sandwich Central School and how do we create a model that's going to meet the needs of kids, but also be fiscally responsible. And a lot of discussion went into the multi-age model, and by the nature of 7 groups, there needed to be one standalone group. So there was quite a bit of discussion about where that standalone should be. And in the end, the committee made the recommendation was made, maybe not by the committee, but by the administration at the time and the faculty, that the best thing to do would be to make 6th grade the standalone. And there were a variety of reasons attached to that. That was 2007. So fast forward to, I believe, my first year as principal was, I think, when Interlakes made the switch to full day kindergarten right around that same time. And at the time, the sentiment was, keep it as is. Now, I say it was a sentiment. I don't recall there being any committee work or any discussion, amongst the board or the administration at that time.
This was what year?
So that would have been my first year. This is 2022, so 7 years ago. I completely understand that we have a new group of parents and maybe the sentiment has changed, but I would also urge us to just take our time and be as careful as we can, because I do think, there is the potential for a ripple effect. There's potential for an instructional impact, and we would need the time to think those things through.
So 1st grade is not paired. Where is 1st grade paired right now?
With kindergarten.
Okay.
And that's the model that was developed, and the model we've tried to preserve. That plan was developed to be a long-term solution.
But it's only paired half day.
12 o'clock, 4 hours.
From 8 to noon, it is kindergarten and 1st grade.
Yeah.
Then the kindergartners go home,
Mhm,
and the remainder of the day is 1st graders alone.
mhm.
And my sense as a board member and as a parent was that time was constructively used for those 1st graders to build educational skills that were necessary to progress. And I would be concerned about not having that time for the 1st graders.
I'm torn about Howard's comment about school not being tied to childcare. School is absolutely tied to childcare. And
the impact on children whose parents are working and don't have access to childcare, or for whom childcare then costs more money than they can afford, is notable. And I don't think we should overlook that. We also have a competency-based curriculum, and I'm assuming we have a competency-based curriculum in K1 as well as the other multi-age classrooms. So, and we all know that those age differentials between kindergarten and first grade can be blurry. So there are kindergartners who perform on the competencies at first grade level and vice versa. So I hear the question about half-day kindergarten, not just as a concern about childcare, which it is, but childcare concerns in a family can have an impact on the child's performance in school. But I also hear it as an educational opportunity for kindergartners. So and I do think it's an equity issue. Myself, so.
And Duncan.
I understand that point. I would say that there are great advantages of the multi-age classroom. And as a parent, I witness those and I support those. And I think this is one of those things where there are challenges associated with the multi-age classroom that balance against those. And I think we have a district that has 2 schools that provide kindergarten. And if families feel very strongly that the multi-age classroom with its attendant benefits and its attendant challenges don't meet their needs, there is the option of going to the other elementary school. And that's something that families do in both directions. And, I appreciate that introduces another set of challenges for those children as well. I'm reluctant to go into great changes in that classroom because I've seen that it is successes both at the kindergarten level and at the first grade level. And I'm happy to participate in a discussion, but as a recent parent, that's my perspective. And as to the point about the after-school programming, I appreciate that in a just society, that is an important priority. But in this region and this state and in the towns around here, that is provided through individual towns or through private organizations. And families negotiate that. I think it is not feasible to ask, for this board to ask the taxpayers of all 3 communities to fund a program in the town of Sandwich. I think the town of Sandwich should have a robust after-school program that provides support for families. And I think that has to be done through the taxpayers of Sandwich. And it can't be done through the taxpayers of this district with the 3 towns as a whole. And that the responsibilities of this district are to provide the educational services as defined in law and Department of Education regulation. And we can't get into having individual towns have their Parks and Recs department fund or be funded by this district. I just don't think that's tenable.
Yes.
I just wanted to provide some context. At the time that the decision was made to move from half-day kindergarten to Interlinks Elementary School, there was quite a bit of parental concern from all 3 towns within the district. There were parents who were very much looking forward to having a full day, and there were parents who thought it was too much and wanted a half-day option. The board did receive quite a lot of parental feedback. Those were very well-attended meetings as we were navigating that change. And the board consciously made a decision to leave Sandwich as a half-day program and to offer a full-day program at Interlinks Elementary. That may need to be revisited now, but I just wanted to let the board know, the current sitting board, that certainly the board was part of the conversation and received quite a lot of feedback from residents.
Okay. Well, Howard and then Nancy.
Well, the
Yes,
sandwich
thank
folks.
I agree completely with Duncan's point. It's essentially the point I made. I think the school's responsibility and for the educational day. I have no objection at all to our looking into a full day experience for the present kindergarten. But as Duncan points out, it has to be done very carefully and very thoughtfully because it's done within the context of an existing system that was designed for specific reasons. There's a domino effect. And we've got to be very much aware of that. And again, the school district's responsibility ends at the end of the school day and with transportation as we've provided it in the past. After that, it's a community responsibility for many reasons in this state. Again, we can certainly participate in any community-sponsored effort if requested.
Nancy.
No, I just wanted to clarify. I did not mean when I talked about childcare that we should extend the school day. I absolutely agree with that, and I understand the children's center issue in Sandwich is a staffing issue. They just don't have the staffing to continue an after-school program. But childcare, in my mind, extends into the afternoon. It's easier for a working parent to accommodate a workday that ends at 2:30 or 3 than at noon. And so I didn't mean to suggest that we should be extending the school day, and I completely agree with Duncan that that's a Sandwich issue. And Sandwich could do a warrant article and have taxpayers of Sandwich provide that if we wanted to, but it's neither an ESSER fund issue, nor is it a school board issue in my perspective.
Do we know, and this is a question maybe for Craig, is there a daycare center in Center Harbor? I'm just trying to see geographically, like, if there's other options.
It's provided, there's one at the church.
That's what I
That's
thought,
the congregation.
because I had friends from that area go to that particular one. I just didn't know if it was still functioning.
I'm not sure how recent my knowledge is, but my impression is that that's still available.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Well, I think we're all kind of in favor of, investigating this.
And just to be clear, we would not be looking to make any proposal that would be about this school year. It really is a conversation about.
The next, how we go forward.
Right.
Is there any other public input that we would have? Because it's been 30 minutes or so. Do you have any?
I do. I have a message that came in from a staff member and an extracurricular advisor,
Okay.
but it's not a member of the 3 towns. So I'm not sure if you want to entertain that.
I mean, why not? Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
So this is from, let me maximize my screen. This is from Tim Hannon to the school board and Ms. Temporino. Thank you for hanging in there with the minibus. That is good news for small teams like middle school cross country and the middle high school outing club.
Nice.
That is nice. Thank you.
No surprise.
So I
Do
don't
we need to
know.
vote on the,
what's that?
do we need to vote on the issue of the,
I think it's fine.
Discussion.
I mean, do we need a vote or can we do it by consensus? You're looking for a vote.
I think a vote would just be
Okay.
helpful, just where it is a complex matter. It would be good to have a record that the board is supportive of the conversation.
A motion?
Motion to approve the school administration and engagement.
we already had it.
We have a
Did you?
second.
Okay.
Okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm not in favor.
You're not in favor? Okay. Craig. Okay, moving along. So we said there was no other public input
Not online.
in here because we're probably going to be closing it now. It's been 35 minutes.
Yep.
Okay. So closing it at 6:35.
Did we do the exchange student and?
No, we're gonna do that.
No, closing the public. input.
Closing the public.
Yeah, we're just.
Oh,
closing
okay, I
public.
understand. Thank you.
It's a half an hour. I just want to make sure everybody. Exchange student from the Cultural Exchange Homestay International Program, Ms. Moriarty.
You have in your packet and your confidential materials information about a student coming from the Cultural Exchange Homestay from France. This has been a very successful program for us. We support it from an administrative end, but it does require board action. And if certainly you want to talk any more about the individual, that would be in non-public.
Are any of the students of this district getting their education abroad this year?
You know,
That's a good question.
we usually send with the Rotary, and I don't have that information. I will have to get that for you. Trying to think, Sarah, do you know of anyone? I'll have to get that for the board.
Do we want to approve or do you want to have it? Make a motion to approve?
I would move.
I'll second.
This is a win-win.
Yeah, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay, donations, attachment number 4 in your packet. The ILM/High School Robotics Club, donations from the Laconia Police Officers Association in the amount of $500. $500 from George's Diner LLC, $2,500 from King Stoneworks, and we do have more here. Donations from the Bayside Realty LLC in the amount of $250. The Margate in the amount of $500. Hearts Restaurant Inc. in the amount of $500. And $2,000 from the Trinity Episcopal Church, Meredith Hearts and Hands. Wow.
Wow.
Okay, that's a lot. Motion to approve the donations as presented. Howard and Craig, with gratitude, obviously. It's tremendous.
Yeah.
We thank everybody. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I want to hire the kids.
Great, good job. Additional business, members of the board, members of the administration. None? Announce, what? No? Announcements, Tuesday, November 22nd, SAU 2 board meeting here at the Humiston Building, 6 p.m. Tuesday, November 29th, SAU 2 board, Ashland Elementary School board meeting at 6 p.m. Tuesday, December 13th, Interlake School Board meeting here at the Humiston, 6 p.m. Thursday, December 15th, SAU 2 board meeting at the Humiston Building for the public hearing and board meeting at 6 p.m. Tuesday, January 10th, Interlake School Board at the Humiston Building, regular school board meeting, 6 p.m. So we are going to adjourn this meeting and go into non-public.
Not adjourned.
I'm sorry,
So
non-public.
we won't meet again in November?
Correct.
Doesn't look
There is one meeting in November. It's a very short month.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, we've got the 2 SAUs, but
Right.
nothing,
No
we
other
don't
one.
meet till the 13th. I guess.
Correct.
That's a long stretch.
Okay, so we'll be going into non-public session under RSA 91A3:3AC, the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee or the disciplining of such employee or the investigation of any charges against the employee unless the employee affected, 1, has a right to a meeting, and 2, requests that the meeting be open, in which case the request shall be granted. This includes matters which, if discussed in public, would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of this board unless such a person requests an open meeting. I need somebody to pull the board.
Need a motion.
Oh, yeah,
I move to move into non.
second,
Second.
Craig. Okay, now we can pull the board. Who's pulling?
Usually Charlie does.
Yeah, I know. Duncan said he would.
Okay, go ahead, Duncan.
I say yes. Craig?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Craig?
Fred? Mark? Answer to anybody, yes.
Mark? Lisa?
Yeah. Oh. Okay,
We're not.
we're not public. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.